Hey guys, in this video we're making a really cute little dainty sliding knot bracelet. It has a single sliding knot to adjust the size of your bracelet. The knot is small and it blends in with the size of your beads, making it a really simple minimalist bracelet. For our design today we're using 2mm seed beads. You can use whatever colours you like. And for our thread, we're using a 0.5mm polyester thread, and we need 2 lengths of 40 centimetres. So 1 length for the bracelet and 1 length for the sliding knot. Now I place a clip on the end of my thread so I don't lose my beads. And now just go ahead and place all my beads on. For this design, we bead down to about the same size as your wrist measurement. So my wrist measurement is about 16 centimetres, so I'm going to do 16 centimetres of beads. Once you've measured and checked that you've beaded down to your desired length, then we can take the clip off. Now we place the ends of our thread together, following it back down to the middle, and then gently pulling our beads into the centre of our thread. Now grabbing that point just on the side of our beads, we want to tie a simple knot, so bringing our thread around to form a loop, bringing that tail through the loop and pulling it down nice and tight onto that point there. Now we slide the beads up against that knot and swap onto the opposite side. So same thing on this side, we want to hold that point just on the side of the beads and bring our thread around to form a loop, bringing the tail through the loop. This time we gently want to work our knot down nice and tight up against the beads. So just working it slowly so that you can get it into the right position and hold those beads secure in the middle. Once that knot's in the right position, then you can pull it down nice and tight. So that's the beaded part of your design done. You should have something that looks sort of like this with the beads in the centre. Now we can move on to the sliding knot part of our bracelet. So laying our bracelet down and bringing the cords around so that they overlap on this right side here. This is where we're going to put our sliding knot. So now we need our second 40 centimetre piece of the 0.5mm thread. Now we start by placing it underneath where these cords overlap. Sitting it about in the middle, then we bring this left side cord around and across to the right hand side, leaving a little loop on the left side there. Now we bring the right side cord down over that other thread and then gently pass it underneath all the other threads to come up that loop on the left hand side. Pulling both threads to pull that knot down nice and tight. Now for a square knot we alternate each stitch, so we started with the left side stitch. This one will be a right side stitch, so bringing that right side cord around across to the left, leaving our little loop here, then bringing the left side cord down over that other cord and then gently passing it underneath to bring it up that loop on the right hand side. Pulling our ends to pull that stitch down nice and tight. And alternating, so now we're back to a left side stitch. So bringing the left side cord around across to the right, right side cord comes down over and underneath to come up that loop on the left. Pulling that nice and tight, and then it's back to a right side stitch. Right side cord around to the left side cord comes down over and underneath to come up that loop on the right hand side. Pulling that tight Now it's up to you how many stitches you do for your sliding knot. I usually do between 6 and 10 stitches depending on the design of the bracelet. So just keep alternating your stitches until you're happy with the size of your sliding knot and have a nice flat square knot there. This here is 7 stitches. That's about the size I want for my bracelet. So once you're happy with the size, make sure your knot's pulled nice and tight, and then you can cut these cords off nice and short, leaving about 1 or 2 millimeters, and then cinch them with a lighter to fuse them onto the knot so they don't fray. Just be really gentle, you don't want to singe too much, so I find it's helpful to pull all the other cords out of the way and then go really gently, just melting that and tapping it with a lighter. You want to fuse the ends of your cord, but you don't want to melt it too much because you still need that knot to slide along. Now you can test your sliding knot by pulling on the threads and adjusting that bracelet. So that should pull it all together. Now if you're happy with this part so far and it's all sliding well, then we can tie some stopper knots on the ends of our threads. I like to place some beads on the ends of my threads. This is optional, but I find it's easier to pull the cords if they have a little bead on them. So you want to extend your bracelet so that you can see the size it needs to be to fit over your hand. And then make sure you don't tie your knots any smaller than that. So placing one of your beads onto each cord and tying a simple overhand knot on each thread. Bring that cord around to form a loop and pulling the end through the loop. Making sure to pull your knots down nice and even on both threads. You can check your bracelet again for size, make sure it's fitting okay. If you're definitely happy with it, then you can go ahead and cut the ends of your cords off just outside the knot and cinch the ends with a lighter so they don't fray. So there's your dainty beaded sliding knot bracelet.